Hello and welcome to another episode of Alex's Afternoon Art Show, and again, Too Hot, Fan On. And also, again, we are going to be drawing another Marvel Nemesis character. This time we're drawing Wolverine from Marvel Nemesis, so yeah, I've got some choice words for this one. Okay, so like last time, I did draw up a detailed base sketch before quite a while ago, just so I wouldn't have to do this on the day, because I oftentimes do it on the day and that means I can't spend too much time on it. But this time I've done all this well in advance, so I've got all the details and everything thrown in, got a little bit of reference in front of me to work from, but yeah, you know, it's weird with Marvel Nemesis. I'm just gonna get right into this pretty much, but it's weird with this game in that it's a weird way that a lot of the characters are posed in a lot of the imagery for the game. A lot of the characters have this kind of like head tilted back, kind of like weird pose going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. It's something to do with it's a habit that the artist Jay Lee, who draws the art for the console version, it's an odd habit that he has of where he often draws characters in that pose for whatever reason. I've kind of adapted that a little bit here, of where he's kind of got a little bit of his head back, but I've tried to justify it a little bit, of where it's kind of like a yelling pose, because Wolverine's always yelling. But yeah, I do have a lot of issues with this particular design of Wolverine, because the game came out in that particular period of time of where it was the cool thing to have Wolverine just in a t-shirt and jeans and give him some cool dog tags, because the military is cool. But yeah, I don't care much for that design. I like whenever he's got a costume on. He's a superhero. Don't be ashamed of the fact that he's a superhero. And this is the thing, a lot of these things come across as though they're ashamed of their source material, which I mean they are. Very clearly they are. Particularly in the case of Marvel Nemesis and stuff like bloody the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie and stuff like that. They're very clearly ashamed of their source material, because if they weren't, then, you know, these characters wouldn't be going around wearing black all the time, or wearing normal clothes, or, you know, any of this stuff, or yeah, any of that, because that stuff is too lame for this movie. This movie's this is a superhero movie for adults. We saw The Matrix. That movie was cool. Yeah, good God. Matrix was a frustratingly influential movie in that sense, I think, because just good God, because everything after that had to do green and slow motion. Every film and media product that came out afterwards did slow-mo. They all did. I mean, slow-mo wasn't a thing that movie invented, but it certainly popularized it at the time. But yeah, every media product that came out after that was incredibly green as well, for some reason. And yeah, Marvel Nemesis really exemplifies that, of where it's all green. It's all green. And boy is it green. Because even Wolverine's shirt in this game is like a kind of a greeny color, and so are his jeans. Ugh. Pretty sure Wolverine has brown eyes in this game as well, because this would have been pretty heavily influenced by the movies and stuff at the time. Oddly enough, though, Wolverine is still short in the game. Kind of odd that they kept that detail in, because that's something that kind of very quickly got extinguished after the films. But yeah, just an odd little detail, I suppose. And then we get into the tricky part of this because Wolverine's got like weird hair in this game. He's got not quite the normal Wolverine hair of where it's like the big kind of spiky hair. In this game, they were following more after the Ultimate comics because that was popular at the time. So Wolverine's got these stupid ass sideburns that I hate because instead of just, you know, having the balls to give him mutton chops, they had to give him sideburns because that was cool in 2005 whenever this game came out. He's got these the like the proper neckbeard sideburns as well, like the proper. I don't mean to dunk on people with sideburns too much. Just think it looks weird on Wolverine. Just don't like him. Just don't like him. I don't even think. I mean, I wouldn't imagine neckbeards would carry sideburns too often. Wouldn't really fit the style. But he's also got like this scruff on his chin as well. Because again, the Ultimate comics. So can't just make him look like Wolverine. We've got to change it for, you know, some reason, and make him look like, I don't know. There's I'd say he looks like Guy Fieri, but I don't think that's what Guy Fieri looks like. The same as I've not exactly seen him recently, so. He's got this long hair here hanging over his face, and oh god, it goes all the way down. I feel like the amount of effort that I'm putting into all this Marvel Nemesis stuff is really just not worth it in any sense. And you know what? I'm probably right, but I'm doing it anyways. Because what else am I gonna do with my time, apparently? Oh, God. I'm doing my best to make this hair work, but by God, it looks lame as hell. You know, I think what you may as well mention now, because I don't know when else it'll come up, and it's about line weight on hair. It's something which I don't think I've mentioned yet, actually, but the weight of your lines whenever you're drawing hair should be proportional, or at least I think, or this is at least the way I do it, or usually proportional to how dark the person's hair is. So for example here, since Wolverine has black hair, I'm going a little heavier on the lines because his hair is black. It's supposed to be dark, so the lines should kind of reflect that. And it also, later on, it makes my life easier when it comes to coloring, because I don't have to spend quite as much time on trying to color and shade his hair whenever I know it's just black, so it doesn't take up a huge amount of my time. But yeah, I'll just very quickly kind of throw in the stubble as well, because he's got that too. They just couldn't stop adding stuff to his face with this design. Okay, that's his face basically done now, so the rest of this should probably be reasonably fast because there's very little details going on his body that I haven't already filled in here with just the kind of the detailed base sketch. So the rest of this should be reasonably fast, I think. And yeah, I've already spent 20 minutes on just his face alone, so we. Okay. Oh, a little thing which I feel the need to add here as well is that since he's yelling, you'd be seeing more detailing on his neck, because whenever you yell, your neck flexes, and it flexes hard, so you'd be seeing a little bit more of these little lines, these stretches coming down like this around his neck. Okay, so since this is supposed to be such an unbelievably tight t-shirt, we're probably going to leave in a lot of my detailing. I'm probably going to still do a lot of the detailing over the t-shirt. Trousers on the other hand, I mean, I didn't put much detailing on the legs simply because I knew I wouldn't be able to see much of it. But yeah, a lot of the kind of the detailing on the upper body will probably remain even still. I'll probably kind of put some stretch lines as if like the shirt is stretching over his rippedness. But yeah, I need to do the dog tags. Might as well do that first. On the list of weird things they decided to add to Wolverine's cool guy TM design, fingerless gloves was among them. That was among the things they decided was cool enough for Wolverine to wear. Probably not going to cross through there, but I did just shake my head. Okay, now here's where things get tricky. Not like SSX, like real tricky. And that is when it comes to the claws. Because again, I've got to do a little bit of work here to try and make these claws work. And so it's a case of where his hand is kind of tilted so you can see a little bit of the back of his hand. It's a bit of an issue because that makes my life a little harder. Because that would mean you could see the little things like this on the back of his hand, which I'll have to input on there. That kind of does the trick, I suppose. Let's draw the claw before I finish drawing the hand. And his claws are unbelievably long in this game. They're about the length of his whole wrist. They're about the length of his whole arm, more or less. Which is just bizarre, like the full length of his forearm is kind of absurd. For the length of his claws, I think. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe EA is right. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Looks kind of weird. That thumb. Again, we're facing a couple of issues here with perspective, in a sense, of where from that angle you would be able to see his thumb, but you'd also be able to see a bit of protrusion here when it comes to this part. So that's kind of the weirdness of this angle. That is how it should look, more or less. So there's not really much I can do about that. His right arm appears to be a little shorter. This arm, I mean. I guess Wolverine's left-handed. Yeah, the shape of Wolverine's claws in Marvel Nemesis is really weird because it's got like this weird kind of bulby bit at the tip. Yeah, it's got this kind of, yeah, like weird bit of where it kind of gets bigger at the top of it, which is weird. You'd think, considering it's supposed to be a blade, you'd think it'd be getting shorter at the top, but no, it kind of fattens out briefly before reaching the actual sharp end. And that is, oddly enough, how they look in it. Another one of the reasons why I don't like how he looks in this game. All the characters in this game have really thick belts. I don't know what the deal with that is. Maybe that was a big thing in 2005. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember. Again, some of the design in this game is a bit awkward to work with. Like the kind of the super tight but yet untucked side of the shirt. Of where it's somehow still unbelievably tight, this shirt, but yet it is loose in a sense as well, which just kind of doesn't really make a whole pile of sense to me. But you know what? It's a little late to be complaining now. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not quite sure what type of trousers these are supposed to be. I'm just going to assume they're jeans because everybody else in the game is wearing jeans. But based on his belt, I really couldn't tell you because he's got like this weird, like, I don't know. It's hard to tell what type of trousers these are supposed to be. But yeah, I'm just gonna assume they're supposed to be jeans because everybody else is wearing jeans. But yeah, this is just what seems logical to me. Alright, there's my details, and we're already nearly an hour in. Again, I can kind of blame some of the hair and folds on that, but it always seems to take an hour to get the details done these days. Can never get anything done fast anymore. I don't know why his trousers have that weird, like, kind of puffy look at the bottom. Bottoms of them are rolled up anyways, so it's a bit weird. Anyways, it will do the dots. It will do the dots. And then we'll get rolling on the colors. Now, believe it or not, there are times where I have to turn off the dots whenever I'm coloring, and that's simply because there's just a little too much going on with them. And sometimes that's the thing that just can't be helped. Sometimes there's a lot of areas that need shaded with the dots, or they need to at least have the dots on them for one reason or another. And yeah, it is just sometimes a thing where I have to turn them off because there's just too much going on. Were there a bunch of different colors going on here, I would need to turn off the dots simply because of just, yeah, there's a lot of them. But yeah, there's not a huge amount of color variety going on in this drawing, I can tell you right now. So yeah, at least the coloring will probably be reasonably fast. And yeah, I'll probably, as I said with the last video, I am kind of hoping for these to be a little shorter, so that I can kind of do them in a quicker, more timely fashion. Just I suppose for the convenience of getting them done quickly. It's not like I do that much in a given day, but yeah, it is just kind of better, I feel, at least if they're a little quicker. Oakley. Now we've got the dots done, which means we can move on to our colours. That reasonably shouldn't take too long. I should be able to get that done in a timely fashion, which is again my favourite phrase today. Just need to give myself a quick old stretch, and then we can get on with our colours. Oh, God almighty. You know, it is a bit of a challenge in itself to try and find the most ugly colours possible to use in colouring a character. Because I mean, that's kind of what I had to do with the thing. I had to try and choose the dullest colours I could for all of his clothes. And I kind of have to do the same thing with Wolverine here. But I'm kind of just going through and getting all the little bits first. So for example, his gloves and boots are the same kind of color and they're both black, so I can kind of just do that very quickly and whip this up very fast. And believe it or not, we're still under the 2-hour mark, which is surprising. Who knows, I could end up making record time on this one and finish a drawing within, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. Not even going to bother finishing it. I'm going to jinx myself if I do that. Don't want to do that. Don't want to end up jinxing myself. Who cares? If I get it done fast, I get it done fast. If not, oh well. Okay, you know what? Here's a topic I want to talk a little bit about very briefly, and it's choosing your colors. So I have a big issue with the way that the colors were chosen for this game, in particular on Wolverine's design, because Wolverine's design, his color for his t-shirt and his color for his trousers are way too similar. His color on his t-shirt is like a greeny grey, and then on his trousers it's also a greeny grey, but it's slightly darker and slightly greener on his trousers. So it's kind of just this weird decision that they made to make it all like this kind of weird, kind of nasty looking green grey color, because it just doesn't look very visually appealing for one. But yeah, like, and also, I mean, just from like a thematic standpoint, Wolverine doesn't ever wear green. It feels like a really bizarre decision to make one of Wolverine's primary colors in this design green. I don't think there's ever a record of Wolverine like primarily wearing green that I remember, at least, which is just kind of bizarre. And yeah, when you're choosing colors, you kind of aim for colors that you find visually pleasing for the most part, because it's a case of where the colors that you find to be visually pleasing, rather than going for colors that look realistic, go for ones that look good. This is the thing that I always, or that I don't always say this, but I do feel the need to start always saying it, and it's, yeah, you should just pick colors that you think look good and that you think fit and that are drawing your eye to the right places. Because this is the thing, if you've got too much of the same color going on, like here with these green greys, it's a case of where your eyes don't really know what to look at. And in the same sense, he's just wearing a t-shirt and jeans, so it's like, okay, I guess my eyes should be drawn to his face or the claws, but like, my eyes are drawn to nothing here. It's not interesting looking, so there's just nothing going on. And yeah, this is the thing. It's a case of where you kind of need to be vigilant, I guess, with your colors about where you want people to look. Because I mean, this is the thing. If you put like a big codpiece on a design, like a big bright neon purple codpiece on a design, people are gonna look at that, and it's gonna really draw your eye. So this is the thing. You need to kind of pick your colors and pick where you want people to look. So for example, if you want to give a character, if you want the focal point of people's attention to be on the character's face, then you should give them something interesting looking on their face, to keep people looking at it. Like for example, this is why scars are such a popular thing in design, because it makes people look there. Or this is why, I mean, superheroes wear masks a lot of the time, because it makes you look at their face. It draws your eye. So this is the thing. Yeah, that's just my little minor rant about color and colors and picking the right ones. This is the thing, I'm doing my best here to try and make these colors look as different as possible, but the inevitable issue is they're gonna end up looking pretty similar, because in the design they're pretty similar, so there's only so much I can really do about it to make them look different, because it's just, again, a bit of a bizarre decision to make them so similar. I mean, just in the normal world, people usually wear a different color shirt to their bloody trousers. It's very rare that someone wears the exact same colored shirt as trousers, because it looks a bit odd. And it's not visually pleasing. Really, rarely does anyone find that visually pleasing, so case of where no one really wants to wear it, for the most part at least. It's rare, at least, that I see it. People wearing the same color top as bottom. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the one who is wrong. Okay, that's our colors done, which means I have a couple of little bits to do really. I have to shade him, I have to do his light line, I have to do that stuff out. You know what, I should probably throw in the background here now, just to save myself some time later. Alrighty, let's do our shading. I'm gonna turn it down to 40%, get a purple, get a yellow, and then we gotta do our shading. I'm going to be doing the same thing I did last time as well, where I'm going to do the grading map closer to the same as the game. I have the thing one open up here, so I'm just going to grab the same gradient map I did last time for the green gradient map, the nasty looking one, and then I'm going to make a new one for Wolverine to see if that helps. It most likely will. Okay, that's my shades done. Now it's time for the lights, which won't take quite as long, naturally. And then we'll be pretty close to done. I think it will just take us 2 hours again. It'll be just about 2 hours for us to be finished this time. Okay, that's all the shading done. Now what's next? Now I have to do the light line. That will take just a sec. I hope. It should in theory be quick. Again, in theory. Because rare is it that these things are ever 100% fast. Okay, so that's that done. There's the light line. I have to very quickly sign it here now as well. Never forget to do that. Yep, we must never forget to sign it. I have forgotten to sign it in the past, and then I had to go and do it after the recording. And it was just a pain to have to do. But yeah. So now we're going to want to grab our gradient maps. That's the next thing on the agenda. We'll grab our gradient map from here. There's that gradient map, and there's our texture on there as well. So you can see, not the most pleasant color palette, as has been evidenced before. It's not a looker, this color palette, I would say, at least. But yeah. Okay, so let's now experiment. Yeah, that's alright, yellow and orange. And so then we can make our gradient map. If I zoom out in here and grab this. And then just very quickly erase it. And then I can make a second gradient map. Forgot where it was for a second there. Make a second gradient map that fits this a little bit more. And then we shall see how that does for us. That, I would say, looks considerably better than this. Much brighter, brings out the colors a little bit more. It fits all our colors a lot better. But the other one is the kind of idea that they would have gone with, this kind of greeny look. So I'll switch over to this, and then again, this also even makes the greens look better, and this version just makes the greens even more kind of pukey, which is the last thing you want. You want them to look a little bit more rich, a little nicer. That's all you want. That's all you want out of it. But yeah, anyways, I've made my point here, I believe. But yeah, that is, I believe we're done. I believe we are done, and just under the 2 hour mark at that, believe it or not. Yeah, I'm pretty certain we're done. If I forget something, I'll put it in afterwards. But yeah, that was everything. So what did we cover? We covered my gripes with this design. You talked a little bit about color, and we talked at great length at the beginning of this, at least, about my issues with this design and how you can kind of go wrong with making designs that are casual per se. I feel like there's a lot of kind of places to catch you out whenever you're doing a design that is supposed to look kind of casual. The thing you should be striving for is to at least make it look interesting still. Even if it's supposed to be normal clothes, just give them clothes that look unique, that make them stand out from other characters whenever you're, I suppose, designing a character that's supposed to be wearing normal clothes. Make them stand out, give them colors that don't blend together, give them colors that stand out from one another, that have a point. They don't necessarily have to have a point, but at least draw your eye to the character. At least make the character look unique and interesting, unlike this, where he just looks like a man. Not even got the hair. It's just slicked back. It's lame. But yeah, anyways, if you like the video, do what you'd normally do. And yeah, hairs on my face. Bye bye.